I am Alex. I am a salaried employee. I will pay tax under the pay system. Means, my employer will deduct tax from my earnings and will directly deposit it with the HMRC. Under the pay system, an employer deducts income tax and NIC related to the employee. The employer has to deposit this amount to HMRC each month within 14 days from the tax month end. What is a tax month? A tax month starts from 6th of one month and ends at 5th of the next month. For example, a tax month can be 6th May to 5th June. For this month, the company will have to deposit the deducted tax and NIC by 19th July if deposited by check. Therefore, the due date for payment is 19th of each month if payment is made by check. For employers having to 50 or more employees have to pay this amount electronically up to 22nd of each month. For employers having less than to 50 employees, they can also make this payment electronically by 22nd of each month. In the exam, please use 22nd as the due date. Also, employers having average monthly payments of less than £1,500 can make quarterly payments rather than monthly payments. These quarterly payments are due by 22nd August, 22nd November, 22nd February, and 22nd May 2023.
Employers deducting PA have to submit RTI electronically to HMRC, giving details of earnings, income tax, and NIC. This information has to be submitted in real time. It means that the information must be submitted when the employees are paid. If the employer fails to submit the RTI return, then HMRC imposes penalty for the same. For first default, no penalty is charged. But, for subsequent defaults, penalty is imposed on the basis of number of employees with the employer. This table gives the amount of penalty which can be imposed in each case. But if the RTI return is submitted more than 3 months late, additional penalty is charged. This additional penalty is 5% of tax and NIC which should have been reported to HMRC. Now let's see some forms which are used by employer organizations. Form P45. This form is provided by the organization to the employee when the employee leaves the organization. This form gives the details about the employee's tax code, his pay till date, and tax till date. Form P60. This form includes the year-end summary, so that the employee can complete the employment pages of a self-assessment tax return. It is provided by the organization to the employee by next 31st May from the tax year. Form P11D. This form is used to inform HMRC about the benefits provided to the employee. A copy of this form is also given to the employee by 6th July following the relevant tax year.
I am Victor. I earn income from various sources. I need to pay tax under the self-assessment system. Means, I need to assess my income, calculate the tax due, and then need to pay the tax directly to HMRC. Now let's see, how can I file my income tax return? Income tax return under the self-assessment system has many aspects. Even tax has many aspects. Let's first go into detail of tax. We need to know what is included under the term tax. By when should I pay the tax? Do I need to pay any advance tax? And what if I pay tax late? Let's look for their answers. The first question. What is included under the term tax? By tax, we mean income tax, Class 2 NIC, Class 4 NIC and capital gains tax for the tax year. The next question, by when should I pay the tax? Means the last date of tax payment. For tax year 2023, tax must be paid by 31st January 2024. Next question, do I need to pay any advance tax? The answer is yes. In case of some taxpayers, payments on account, that is POA, are required to be paid. And last question, what if I pay tax late? It has a simple answer. You will have to pay penalty for late payment. Let's come to getting the details about return filing. We need the answers to three major questions. 1. In which form the return must be filed? 2. What is the deadline by which the return must be filed? 3. What if I do not file the return? Let's crack their answers. The first question asks about the form in which the return must be filed. The answer is you can file a return in paper form or electronically. The second question asks the due date by which the return must be filed. The answer is in case of a paper return, the due date is 31st October 2023 and for an online return, the due date is 31st January 2024. Now the last question. What if I do not file the return? The answer is quite simple. Penalty arises in this case.
Victor, you forgot something. HMRC can also issue a notice asking a taxpayer to file his return. In such cases, the return must be filed within 3 months of issuing this notice. Tax is automatically calculated in case of online return. But in case of a paper return, the taxpayer or HMRC will calculate tax. Where HMRC calculates tax, it does not check for the accuracy of numbers included in the return. It just calculates the tax liability. Later on, HMRC informs the taxpayer about the tax due by issuing a statement of account. What if no return is filed by the taxpayer? अब HMRC tax determine करेगा. Remember, determination के against appeal नहीं की जा सकती. But determination has to be done within a time limit. It can be within 3 years of the filing date. That is, by 31st January 2027 for the current tax year. Can any amendment be made to the return after filing? Yes. For tax year 22-23, the taxpayer can make any amendment by 31st January 2025. If HMRC wants to make the amendment, then it must do it within 9 months of the date when the return was filed. Remember, HMRC will correct only the obvious errors or mistakes in the return. If excess tax gets paid, can a relief be claimed from HMRC? Yes. The taxpayer can make the claim within 4 years of the end of the tax year concerned. Means for current tax year, claim must be made by 5th April 2027. Remember, claim can only be made for errors or mistakes done because of not understanding the law. About maintaining records by taxpayers. Business taxpayers को अपने सभी records 5 years तक maintain करने हैं. कौन से 5 years? 5 years from return filing date. Means till 31st January 2029. बाकी taxpayers को 12 months after 31st January filing date, means 31st January 2025 for current tax year. या जिस दिन compliance check complete हो जाए. या जिस दिन compliance check start होना impossible हो जाए. Out of these 3 dates, जो भी date सबसे बाद में हो, तब तक records maintain करने होते हैं. Now let's understand, what are compliance checks? HMRC can check the return submitted by the taxpayer to see if the rules of law have been complied with. HMRC will give a written notice for compliance check within 12 months of the date when the return was filed with HMRC. HMRC will request information related to the concerned return only. If the taxpayer wants, he can file an appeal within 30 days against the order of the compliance check. Compliance check has to be done within a time limit. Can something be done by HMRC after that date also? Yes, HMRC can do a discovery assessment later on also. But there are few points to remember. 1. Discovery assessment can be done only where a self-assessment has already been made. 2. Discovery assessment cannot be done where full disclosure was made in the return, even if later on, it is found to be incorrect because of a genuine mistake. But discovery assessment has also some time limits. Basic time limit for discovery assessment is 4 years from the end of tax year. In case of careless error, the time limit is 6 years. And in case of deliberate error, the time limit is 20 years. Also note that a discovery assessment can be appealed against. Now let's come to appeals. If a taxpayer is not satisfied by the decision of HMRC, then he can file an appeal to HMRC itself within 30 days of the disputed decision. If the taxpayer is not satisfied even with the outcome of the appeal, he has two options. Request his case to be taken up another HMRC officer, or get the case referred to the tax tribunal. There are two layers of the tax tribunal system in UK. First-tier tribunal and the upper tribunal. First-tier tribunal hears simple appeals, which usually get disposed of without a hearing, or straightforward appeals involving very less paperwork. It can also hear complex cases, which if not concluded, are taken to the upper tribunal. The upper tribunal decides appeals coming from first-tier tribunal, mainly on a point of law. It also decides complex cases which need specialist knowledge. Hearings of the upper tribunal are held in public and its decisions are also published. If someone wants to appeal against the order of the upper tribunal, then he need to reach the Court of Appeal. Remember, only matters related to a point of law can be taken to the Court of Appeal. And with this, we complete the theory part of this chapter.